Hey guys, it's Jade from Boho Bookworm. I've been receiving some amazing books from the publishers lately. I have filled up an entire bookshelf in the few months I've been in Australia and I now need a new one. That said, let me just dive into it and show you what I got. The first book I got is called The Tall Man by Phoebe Locke. This is a thriller book about three crimes that are somehow connected, but the crimes are so far apart. One was in the 1990s, one was in the year 2000, and the other one was in 2018. The crime that happened in 1990 has something to do with three girls that pledge their devotion to this sinister figure. In the year 2000, a mother disappears. She leaves behind her husband and her baby. And then in 2018, there's a girl that is charged with murder and her crime will shock the world. It sounds pretty great, and on the front it says, "You don't find him, he finds you." I haven't heard anything about this book on BookTube yet, so I'm very excited to get into it. The next book looks so dark and creepy, and that is The Puppet Show by M.W. Craven. This book is about a serial killer that is busy killing people, but he's leaving no clues for the police, so they literally have no idea what to do. But then one day, in a burnt body, they find his initials like carved into the scorched body. This book is about a disgraced detective that wants absolutely nothing to do with the case, but he decides to get involved and try to solve what's happening. So it sounds creepy as. I just love this cover. It is one of the spookiest covers I think I own, so I'm very much looking forward to it. Next is something you might be a bit surprised about. I don't know if you know this about me, but I've never read a Nora Roberts book. So I got Nora Roberts' Shelter in Place, and this, I thought that Nora Roberts was predominantly a romance author, but apparently she's been releasing some like kind of more crimey, thrillery books lately, which is very interesting and makes me more interested to dive into her work. 10 years ago there was a mass massacre murder that happened in this town, and 10 years later there's this girl she survived the massacre, and she's now this very well-known artist. But someone for these last 10 years have been watching her and other survivors, and they still want them dead. So it sounds creepy, I'm excited. It's very chunky and thick, but I'm looking forward to it. My first Nora Roberts book, guys. Have you read Nora Roberts? Let me know in the comments down below. The next book, honestly, when I unpacked it from the publishers, I looked at it and I was like, oh god, I'm probably never gonna read this. It didn't look like something that would interest me, but when I started to read the back and get a bit more interested in the author himself, I was like, okay, I'm actually really intrigued, and that's Capture or Kill by Tom Marcus. Tom Marcus was an MI5 agent, and he is actually under like protection and using a pseudonym, I think, or something like that. He's under protection with the Secret Service because he's getting like death threats. So he used to work in the army, and he just sounds so interesting to me, so I'm really looking forward to his book. This book is about a guy called Matt Logan, who is an MI5 agent for the British government. He's working in the front line of counter-terrorism in the UK, and he's trained to protect citizens against all threats. In this book, he is working undercover to try and track down two brothers who are busy trying to plot this big terrorist attack. Honestly, it's not something I would have picked up in the bookstore myself, but because I got a bit more interested in the author himself, I am excited to give it a go. And, you know, to be honest, like guns and car chases and movies like that and books like that, it doesn't really interest me, but there's no denying that this sounds good. So I am gonna give it a go and see what I think. After so many thriller and horror and gore and crime, I think the publishers were trying to send me a message when they sent me How to Be Happy. This is a book written by Eva Woods. This is about a girl called Annie who's been sad for so long, she's just forgotten how to be happy. She's just trudging along life feeling pretty grim until one day she meets a girl called Polly. Along came Polly. Great movie. Polly is the polar opposite to Annie, but she's also facing something quite hectic herself, trying to figure out how to die well. Polly is given 100 days to help Annie find happiness, which to me sounds very similar to Me Before You by Jojo Moyes, but let's see what it's like. It sounds quite nice. I think it's quite cute that it's more of a female friendship book rather than a romance, I think. So yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. And apparently throughout the book, Polly then, like, roles kind of reverse or something, and Polly needs Annie more than anything else. So Annie's got to step up and stop being a miserable, I was going to say a really bad word there. Yes, so one day I will get around to this. I'm just on such a thriller, crime, mystery, horror binge right now. The next book is also from an author that I have never read before, and that is How Do You Like Me Now by Holly Bourne. Realised how much it matches my dress. This is about a woman called Tori who just seems to have it all. She's a best-selling author, inspiring heaps of women around the world for her self-help memoir, and she's in the perfect relationship, so she's pretty much every woman's envy. Little does everyone know that Tori is living a lie. While everyone around her is getting married and having babies, poor Tori's boyfriend will not even discuss getting engaged or anything like that. Can you say commitment issues? When Tori's best friend falls in love, Tori starts to get petrified that she's literally just going to be left behind from everyone. She's turning 30, her biological clock is ticking, we all know that scary feeling, or, you know, I'm in my late 20s now, so obviously it's a thing on my mind. Apparently this book is super funny, it sounds pretty cool, and I think I'm at a stage in my life where I might actually enjoy this. So, not a genre I would normally go for, but I am looking forward to it. The next book is also something very different, but I'm looking forward to this one a lot because if you didn't know this about me, I love surfing. So, Cocaine and Surfing by Chaz Smith. Chaz Smith is a surfing journalist who in 2006 got kidnapped during the Israel and Lebanon war, which sounds insane. So this is, you know, very much like Tom Marcus, the MI5 agent. These are pretty crazy inspirational authors. When you think about surfing, you think about all these laid back, tanned, sexy men and sexy women too, but there's a darker side to surfing that not many people know about, and that involves this white powder, cocaine, not a very nice drug. In the 80s, there was a huge thing with drugs, especially cocaine, during the surfing trade. In the 90s, almost every single surfer entering competitions would rack a line before they went out. And in more recent years, there's been bar fights, murders, overdoses, all because of cocaine. I mean, surfing is just such a beautiful, fun sport, and it just gets ruined by this. Right, so the next book I'm going to talk about is also one I probably would never have picked up myself, and that is A People's History of the Vampire Uprising by Raymond A. Villareal. This is about an epidemic of vampirism sweeping across the United States. I did actually really enjoy True Blood and even Vampire Diaries, but I've never really read a book about vampires, and I'm not a fantasy person, but I'm quite interested to get into it. I mean, yeah, oh wait, I've read Twilight though. So I'm interested. It's also a pretty chunky book considering it's an author I don't know, like Nora Roberts, and it's a lot to invest my time into, but it does sound pretty cool. I've always been a bit fascinated with vampires. When I was a kid, there was a movie called The Little Vampire, and I loved it. I had like bunk beds in my room, and I used to hook my legs like on the top bunk and dangle off, and my mum would come in and she'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" And I was like, "I'm a vampire, this is how I sleep, Mum." Like, why is it so weird? Like, that's normal. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to get into this again, like enter the vampire world. So they're the books that I got. I am really excited. I need to now go to like Kmart or what's that other place, that Swedish one? IKEA, and get a bookshelf, another one, and then spend about 3 weeks assembling it because I'm getting a bit swamped with books, but I'm not complaining. Anyway, I hope you're all well. Let me know if you've received any great books lately or bought any. I look forward to hearing from you, and have a good day. Bye!